morning. Good
Hey, how
evening.
y'all doing
Morning.
today?
Good.
All right, today's show on Let's Talk, we're going to talk about when enabling somebody or helping someone can go wrong. Um, so I know we were just talking briefly before the show started, and whoo, I'll tell you. Um, what is your definition of improperly enabling someone? So I'll start with you,
Um,
Marcella.
okay. My definition of improper enabling someone is whenever you continue to allow someone to not be responsible and accountable, and you constantly help them when you know that they actually able to help themselves, but and so you make them irresponsible whenever they have the means to do things for themselves, but they choose not to, and you still come through for them each and every time.
Eric.
Well, it's that same thing again. The three words: know your audience. Okay, know that person who you trying to help. Know where that person is. Know where that person is in life. And if a person is showing you that they ain't ready, for instance, to pay the rent, okay, so you should know right then and there. Okay, I can only help you for this many months. And the mistake we make where it goes into enabling, you say 6 months, and here it is, a year and a half or 2 years. That's enabling. You created that monster. Now you're dealing with the after effects. You can't say it's not a monster. You created it. That's your creation. You just got to figure out how to get through to them because everybody has to go through. You have to go through to get through. Now we try to prevent you. We try to prevent the landing from being as hard as it was on up, but you still got to go through it, and that's where enabling comes in. And when that person, a couple of times come to you, but they come to you all the time. Yeah, that's
And
enabling.
you come through for them.
Okay. Tisha, what's your definition?
Similar to Marcella's, but I'm gonna take it a little bit step further. So anytime it prevents someone from being accountable as a child or as an adult, because where we're going, I see a lot of mistakes is we don't hold children accountable, therefore they become adults that don't want to be held accountable. And how you know it's about accountability is because a child is going to remind you that they're a child if they think that you're holding them to accountable, and then an adult is going to remind you that they're an adult if they don't want to be held accountable. So if you pay attention, it's a pattern in it. When you're getting on your kids and you're holding them accountable, I'm just a kid, or I'm just, all of a sudden you just 10, you just 11. Well, when you're holding an adult accountable, all of a sudden they're an
I'm
adult.
grown.
Right. So it's a pattern. And I think we have to kind of cut it off at the pass with our kids to let them know these are lessons that are going to carry you into adulthood so that you understand and know what accountability looks like. And I think accountability is not just for our actions, but our emotions too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
To me, my definition of it is more so of the proper balance. The proper balance is understanding the situation and understanding how much to give in order to get them where they need to be at. When then that's where it becomes you're enabling them to constantly rely on you to keep going through that same process. Just like, for example, someone who lives paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that paycheck to paycheck, something happens outside the norm, they're not prepared for it. So then they have to reach out to somebody for help. Well, then that's one of those things to where, okay, then the whole process is, are they living outside their means? Are they living within their means? It's a whole process of having proper balance.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at a situation before you help somebody, and you look at their situation and you see they're living outside their means, should you help them?
Exactly.
And that's where, like in most cases nowadays, a lot of people that looking are for help, technically they can help themselves, but they're just trying to find an easy way out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. True
and
that.
and and also too, it's like, like you said, we had some examples, but it's like whenever you do too much, now that person also starts to feel entitled, because it's like you can't take it back. It's like when you help them so much, it's like they automatically going to come to you, and they think that it's always going to be yes, 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 yes. And then whenever you decide in the middle that you're no longer going to do it, now they feel like they entitled, like you supposed to, because it's like you said, we enable so much sometimes too, because of the fact that who it is, because we care. Maybe it's one of our children, or maybe it's one of our siblings or somebody like that. And it's like, we know that they can do better, but we feel sorry for them some type of way, where the manipulation came in with that person to where now they're making us feel sorry for them, and we go ahead and give it to them anyway. So we got to stop it from the beginning. I think every adult, and it's like I say from the age of 25 all the way up until 30 years old, if you still depending on people to come through for you all the time, then that is a problem. You know what I'm saying? And I thank God that each and every one of our children is able to pay their own bills and depend on their own self and stuff like that. We never started that. We're the type of parents that if we know that you out here and you doing what you're supposed to do, and you might be short maybe $40 or whatever on a bill, we got you, because you're showing us that you're responsible. But when you're not doing anything and you walking around here and you feel like you just sitting on top of the world with this high price phone, and you walking around here with the latest joint, stuff like that, but you can't pay your bills or make your way, nah, I can't do it. That's where the enabling coming in. That's where I feel like it comes in at. So we have to just, like you said, start them as a child, set a foundation as a child, hold them accountable, and let them know that this is real life. Realistically, you're not gonna go out here in the world and everybody gonna give you everything because your parents or somebody did it for you. And if you don't stop that from the gate, that's how they're gonna think, and then they're gonna feel entitled. And then once they feel entitled, now you're gonna start having problems with this person, because they're gonna say, "Well, you used to do it. Well, you always came through. Why you can't do it for me now?" So don't start something that you can't finish.
Well, if a person, that's when you know accountability, responsibility, and enabling. They let you know if they come to tell you you've been doing it, then they're guilty. Guilty as charged. See, the difference between helping and enabling is I helped Mario because he's $40 short. Enabling is you paying his rent for him 6 months in a row. It happens. We've all ended up short one time or another. It's okay to help people, but I'd be damned if I'm an enabler. Yeah. See, and another way to check is if they come to you again, you say, "Hey, I'm sitting on my rent. Hey, where the rent office at?" And they get salty with you. You already know they already did. You enabling them. It's already started. You need to stop it right then and there. I'm short on my car payment. Who you paying the car payment to? I'll pay it. I'll go there and pay it. No. Mm-mm. You gotta see it for what it is.
I have a good example too, where somebody, like, I know this person, and he was going with this female. She got into 2 car accidents. Each time they gave her enough money to buy her own vehicle, but she decided to take her money and do whatever she wanted to do. What else? So she's driving this other person's car. So now she didn't tow the car up. He can't get his car back because he didn't enable her. Because he should have made her be responsible when her cars became total. She got in the thousands. He should have made her go and buy her own vehicle. So now she just spent all the money, and now she's driving his stuff. And so now she become an enabler. So now she's dependent on him for everything. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I said, you have to hold a person accountable. You have to, especially an adult. It's like every time on the first, we go ahead and pay our bills. We pay all our bills, right? Nobody wants to pay bills, but do you think it's fair for people to go out here for their hard-earned money to give people money to pay when they short because they out here blowing it because they choose to do that? No. So we got to also stop feeling sorry for these individuals and let them go through it. Sometimes you got to let people go through it and hit rock bottom and figure out how to go get back up.
and you also got to learn that professional word no. If you see it, if you can see it, if you get that sixth sense or your spidey sense is tingling, say no. Say no from the gate, and you will dodge a bullet.
Yep.
You will dodge a bullet. Say no from the gate, and you will dodge a bullet. Or put parameters on it. See, so many times we say yes, we don't say yes, but we say yes. You should say yes, but okay, I'm only gonna give it to you this much for this long. And after this time, don't come here no more. But we don't do that because of the person who it is. You just say yes. And that's telling them the wheels are turning. Okay, well, I can come back to them again. I can come back to Eric again. I can come back to Eric again. And then when you say no, that's when the manipulation come in at. Well, you been paying me for me. Why is it now? You supposed to be my brother. You supposed to be my sister. You supposed to be my friend. You're not supposed to let me go down. If you telling me all this, why are you coming to me? Why don't you have it fixed yourself?
Well, I'll tell you why, because a lot of times we care more about protecting somebody's interest than they do.
That's
And
right.
so I don't always, so what I had to step back and realize was, why am I caring about somebody's credit and protecting their credit and they don't care about their credit?
That's right.
Because if they cared about their credit, they would do what I do to protect my credit, right?
Mhm.
So I've heard and had friends who have adult kids. Well, I was trying to do this to help them so their credit wouldn't go bad. Yeah and no, because it's okay if that person is caring and they just got in a bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're caring more about the actual issue and you're being more proactive about it, then you're getting into the
That's
enabling.
enabling. That's
Yep.
definitely
Then you're getting,
enabling.
that's how you always temperature check. If I'm more involved in it emotionally and invested in it financially than you are, same, that's with anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm starting to enable, because enable is just not financial. It can be emotional ties in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship. It can be how I conduct myself when I'm dating, my friendships. I could be enabling my friends. I know Marcella and I were talking the other day, and I used to always say, well, if somebody had a problem with me and I didn't have a problem with them and they come back and apologize, I would always give them access back into my life. Well, what you're doing with those people is you're enabling them to be bad friends, not only just to you, but to other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you gotta cut it off somewhere with everything.
Yeah.
Like Mario said, it has to be a balance
Yes.
to what you're doing, and it has to be a method to the madness.
Yeah.
So I said today, without boundaries, you cannot have peace. It's
Right.
impossible. If you don't have boundaries in place to protect yourself from takers and you consider yourself a giver, then you're just gonna always be enabling somebody and getting taken
Mhm.
advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that's why
Because
it's
you have to.
important. And that's why it's important that you take a good assessment of what's going
Right.
on. And like
Yeah.
in one of the things that I've learned, I mean, this is my experience in life, is that sometimes you don't learn
Mhm.
the lesson that should be taught because someone was there to help you get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to have some tough love in order to understand that you have an
Mm-hmm.
issue or there's a problem in place. To me, young people don't understand. It's like their experience. I would say anyone who's 30 and younger
Mhm.
is like, I would say between the age of 20 and 30. They're going through a process of trying to establish themselves. They're trying to understand how to do their money. They're trying to understand credit. There's so many different things because in most cases they weren't prepared for it when they first stepped out in the world. That was back in our generation. We weren't really taught how to manage a checking account, how to maintain good credit. We learned that on our own in life. So now this new generation is stepping out here, and it's even worse because it's like where we grew up, we were kind of like poor, but now our generation is like, okay, we want our children to be more comfortable than we were growing up.
Mhm.
And so that entitlement, kind of like now, that's why we have more children now coming out entitled to things and not understanding things are difficult until they get out there in this cold world. And then that's where you have to look at their assessment, look at the decision making that they're making, look at the risk assessments that they're doing, and look at how they're making choices based off of the money. Now, if you're working a full-time job, and when I say full-time job, you're working an actual job that's 40 hours a week or whatever, like, 30 to 40 hours a week, and you're living outside your means, then there's a problem. If you're only making $18 an hour, you should not be driving a Mercedes. I'm sorry. That's not realistic. You have to, realistic situations have to come into balance before you can ask for help. If you're going out here and you're paying a $1,000 car payment, but you only make $1,000 a month, that doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
So that's one of those things that people have to put in balance in order for it. It's like, because then if you don't, like, say for example, someone goes out and make a bad decision. Okay, I only make $1,000, but I'm gonna go out here and get a car. It requires me to pay $1,000 just for the car payment. Okay, what about the insurance? How are you gonna put gas in the car? How are you going to? How are you gonna live? How are you gonna pay your bills? So that's what I said. There's no balance in that situation. So if someone comes in and helps them, they're enabling them in making bad decisions.
Right.
And people like that, and that's what's going on is someone goes out here and they're getting stuff that they can't afford, but then someone's coming in and they're giving them the additional to make it. And that's where you run into the problems that what we have today is that people are making bad decisions and they're not able to stay in their car. So then the car gets repossessed. Then they lose their job. So it's like, so one bad decision is a domino effect for just a bad situation across the board. So then when they call, I need help. Well, first thing is they hate to hear the truth. And the truth there has to be some truth in there in order for the enabling not to be, or helping someone is not a bad thing. If someone's living in a myth or in a magical world of I can be living it up, then that's where things go wrong at.
And and Mario, you're right. And you know what? And enabling don't even stop at like people, like let's just say maybe our children or our siblings. It's our friends, and we can enable our spouse. We can enable your someone that you're in a relationship with. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different types of enabling. When you have someone that just sits around all day and just depend on someone to do everything for them, that's enabling as well. You know what I'm saying? And so now when it's time for you to get up and try to fully understand how life works and you have to do stuff for yourself, now you don't understand how to do it because you depended on this person your whole life or the whole relationship or the whole whatever to do it for you. So we can enable so many different types of people. And like I said, our spouse is one of them, boyfriend and girlfriend, friendship.
You have to understand the difference. It's just like you alluded to earlier. There has to be a balance. You have to know the person that you help. First, you need to know the situation, and then you need to know that person. If you coming in saying, "Well, what happened?" and they don't want to tell you what happened, just give me the money. You better run. Because it's gonna lead to an enabling situation. Right. It's going to. So you need to run from that one, I know. And so in certain situations you should run from it. Just like you said, if you are living outside of your means, you may not want to touch that. What you might want to give them is the truth. That's the help you should give them. Give them the truth. Say, hey, you need to stop what you're doing. It's not taking you anywhere. Blah 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 blah. Go from there, but don't. Certain situations you just don't touch, and with every situation you need to set rules, boundaries, whatever you want to call, and a time limit.
Yep.
And a time limit. Now, just because you let me borrow $1,000 last year and I paid you back in monthly installments, just like I said. Does that mean you should loan me some money again? No, you need to reevaluate
Exactly.
where I am. How did I
Yeah.
get to where I was, and then go from there. If a person is not willing to give you the facts, then you shouldn't. Don't do it.
And,
I'm
pe-
telling you.
and that happens too. It's like that happened to me, and I had to actually, nip that. I mean, the person, paid me back in the installments, but they felt like every time they needed some money, they was gonna come to me, and I told them that was one and only one time only. Because that to me, I feel like now it's going into the stage of enabling, using, taking advantage of. You know what I'm saying? All that goes together for me. It's like if I help you out and you pay me back, that's what you were supposed to do.
Yes.
But don't continue to keep coming to me because you felt like, okay, well, I can keep going to her, because no, I'm not doing that, because then that's gonna become repetitious, and I'm not, and I don't want to break up friendships or whatever type of ships they are. So I had to just put a stop to that. I was like, no, I can't do that anymore. Just that one time. So my enabling them stopped with me. I don't know who else they was gonna go to and continue to do that, but it stopped with me that first time.
Mhm.
And you gotta understand too, with enablers or basic people that come to you all the time, you ain't the only one.
No.
You're
And
not the
then you
only
have,
one.
and you're absolutely right, because some people want to have that control over people.
Mhm.
So like what they'll do is they'll look at your situation and they'll give you just enough help so they have control over you. And so those are things that I mean it's kind of tricky on how that goes, because with me, if you know this person and you know this person has a history of not doing the right thing when it comes
Yes.
to keeping their word, paying back loans. Like my thing is this: if you know a person and this person has had their car repossessed 3 or 4 times,
Mhm.
the chances of you loaning money to them is going to be slim to none. Um, and that's
Yes.
just being realistic. It's just like I said, like a lot of people have to understand is that if you are and one of the things I don't like to use this, but I'm gonna use it anyways, is you take a person that's homeless. What is the thought process of you providing help to a homeless person? When you see a person out here on the street, like which we see a lot here in our area, it does nowadays. You see it everywhere. I don't care where you're in the United States. You're going to see some homeless person asking for money.
Yeah.
You look at that homeless person. You see they're from what you can see, they're young. They're in good shape. Not all of them. I'm just saying. I'm just taking one. They're young. They're in good shape, but they can stand on the corner in the hot 100-degree sun for 8 hours straight asking for money. What is your thought process of helping that person? What makes you decide to give money to a homeless person on the corner? Are you enabling them to continue to stay where they're at? Or are you helping them?
And
What are your
it's a
thoughts
very
on that?
it's a very lucrative business too. It's very lucrative because people give. They people give, and people give a lot. There are some of them that get a couple $100 for just a couple of hours work.
Well, I can be the first to admit that I have gave. You know, I don't give like I used to give because I felt like, and then I think sometimes too you can look at the situation or look at the person, even though you don't know their story, but you can look at some people and just and know that they can't work, but then we don't know if they're getting some type of income coming in. So I realized that the more that I give, the more that I'm enabling. So I just stopped altogether. Now, if God put it on my heart to give $1 or something like that, I don't have no problem with that. But like I said, I don't even do that anymore. So I think that it's based on maybe the situation, but I think it is a form of enabling them because the longer they can stand on that corner and they know they can get and they can get, then that's what they're gonna do. And I think at some point it is enabling because
What
some
goes
homeless
back?
people. Let
It
me say
goes
this real
back
quick.
to what? Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. And some homeless people, that's what they choose to. That's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
They choose to be homeless.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want the
They don't want
responsibility.
responsibility.
So if you don't want the responsibility, then you don't. Then I'm not gonna enable you by giving you my money. All right, Tish.
But it goes back to what Eric said earlier. If you want to test a homeless person, all you have to do is say, "I'll go buy you the food," versus
We
giving the
did that.
money.
Yep.
I mean, I stopped giving money years ago because I realized that people they really had money, or they do that when they have disability and they've maxed out their disability for the month. So they'll stand on the corner to get extra money when they've used up all their resources for the month. So everybody that's on the corner is not homeless. There's a family that someone was telling me about. Their whole entire family have been panhandlers like that all their life, and they have a nice home, nice cars. That's just what they do. That's their job, panhandling.
Oh,
So, everybody that's on, like, you'll see people like now, especially since we have the phones and stuff like that, people have followed people to their Mercedes or their really nice car that's parked, maybe at McDonald's or somewhere, and while they stand on the corner. So for me, if I see that situation, I'll offer to bring you food if I feel compelled to help you at all. But like Marcella said, most of those people choose that lifestyle. They don't want, like you said, the responsibility, or they are probably mentally ill, a lot of them.
yeah.
And that was the downfall to us closing down institutions as well, where people don't have a place to go because if you're mentally ill, you're not going to always be able to have the know-it-all to pay your bills and be responsible. So that goes into a whole nother situation with that. So I'm cognizant of the people on the corner, but I also am cognizant and responsible for my resources. If I choose to help them, it would be in the form of, I've brought you food, I've brought you a Gatorade, I've brought you a water, but you're not going to get my money.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll get mad at you in that situation. But I also wanted to bring up the point too that, sometimes people think you're their personal ATM machine.
Yeah.
And I've had to explain that as well. And the key thing to getting older or becoming an adult is you don't owe your family members or your friends that have helped you when you were younger, growing up or whatever. I see family do that stronghold where they try to guilt you. But I always looked out for you. If you didn't do it from your heart, you shouldn't have done it.
Right.
And then I see people helping family members to a default because all they keep in their mind is this person always looked out for me. That's not paying it forward when it gets to the point where you're enabling the individuals, right? So I think we got to detach from that too, that history doesn't equal help. Just because we have history together doesn't mean I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't mean that I don't value you because if we have history and I don't help you. Right. It's my choice. Look.
Yeah, it's my choice. And I've gotten I used to change your diaper. Okay, that's what you're supposed to do. If I was a baby and you was watching me, I would hope that you would change my diaper. It ain't even got to be like that. Well, you the one said it. I used to look.
But most of the time, but you know what? That's what I said. When someone uses a line like that, they're technically a con artist. They're trying to tell you, you're trying to do the guilt trip. And in today's society, is like if you don't become really good at assessing a situation, you can get robbed every single time.
Get got.
Someone get you every single time. And I think that's one of those things to where, like now, there's so much more method. Let's go with the GoFundMe. Okay. We've been seeing a lot of GoFundMes where, and this is one of the biggest ones that I can't stand the most, is someone passes away suddenly.
It's replacing insurance.
And the first thing they want to do is a GoFundMe. How do you, at what point in time should you help somebody or help that situation, help that family? Now, keep in mind, you look at the family, and there's a pattern to where every time someone passes away in the family, they got to do GoFundMe. That is a to me, that is there's a broken process
Mm-hmm.
in that thought process of being responsible.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like anyone can go out here and get insurance if they are planning correctly how to live their life to the end. But should you help somebody who didn't take time to properly plan?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's so true.
Look at the history. Look at the history of the GoFundMe, and see what the first thing they say. They say GoFundMe. They don't say Eric and Marcella's GoFundMe. They say GoFundMe. You giving GoFundMe a bad name because they get the money and there's no headstone, no services, nobody know nothing. But yet there was $15,000 raised. GoFundMe is fraud. It ain't GoFundMe. It's the people that's in it. It's the right idea. It's just people abuse it. Just like Facebook. It's the right idea. People just abuse it. And 9 times out of 10, you see it. 30 seconds later, oh, the GoFundMe for this, this, and this, and nothing was wrong with them. This lady got over 250, 300, something about a daughter had cancer, stage 4. They raised over 250 grand for this woman. Guess what? There was nothing wrong with the daughter, ever.
She even cut the daughter hair and made her look
Clean
like
bill of health. The
made-
daughter, yeah, the
made
daughter. Go ahead.
The daughter
look
killed
like a
her
cancer
too,
patient. She even cut off the daughter hair, made her like a cancer patient, everything.
but she
That little
killed
girl
her.
didn't- Huh?
That little girl killed her too.
Oh, she did?
It's a documentary on Hulu about it. Yeah, she killed her.
Okay. Yeah.
Her and her boyfriend. She ended up getting a boyfriend, and he was autistic, and they killed that lady. After all those years of that abuse. But I was gonna tell you guys, if you really take GoFundMe out of it and look at the real root of the issue, all of this has been going on before GoFundMe.
Right. Absolutely.
yeah.
Yes.
Where
Absolutely.
families haven't had insurance. So it goes back to, because of the enabling, now they just have a bigger platform, because
Right.
Responsibility.
those of us that are not looking for a handout, I wouldn't dare start a GoFundMe. For what? I have insurance. I try to be responsible. I understand, like, if something happened catastrophic or something.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
even then, like, that's like, you can tell. Like, I had a friend, one of my an associate, she started a GoFundMe during COVID, but didn't tell the whole truth about why she needed to GoFundMe. She legitimately could have used the GoFundMe and then turned around, and I was like, well, if you're not going to be transparent about everything that's going on with you, then you don't need to start the GoFundMe. Well, I just wanted to see who would be willing to help me. Well, people not willing to help you, like you said, Mario, and we're all saying there's not truth in it.
Right.
See, responsible, responsible.
I mean, any of us can get cancer. Right. Any of us can get cancer or have an accident or something and need help, but you need to be explaining what you need that help for.
That's right.
And every step of the way thereafter. That's almost like getting a loan from somebody and stop answering their phone calls.
Right.
If you go ask, keep me updated, keep Facebook updated about your progress, your recovery, what the people money went towards.
But and again, it goes back to where it's a self-motivational thing inside a person. Is like you want to do better. You want to get out of your situation. You want to improve your life. Like, I mean, I went from being like poor once upon a time as a child, and then as I got up to where I became an adult, I put everything in place to make sure I would never see rock bottom again. I had a plan. I had a situation. Everything was planned out on how I wanted to get out of being in poverty. When you look at the situation now, when someone's asking for help, what is your plan to where you don't have to ask for help again? And one of the biggest ones, and I know a lot of people are going to hit me hard. But let's talk about welfare. How is welfare designed to help somebody?
I think it's one of
people,
those things. If it's used right, it is, because
right? But I
that
agree.
it only enables. Again, it goes back to, if you have a mindset of getting over, then it doesn't matter if it's welfare, medical, it doesn't matter, because some people make sure they only work a certain amount of hours so that they can maintain government assistance.
Right.
So that's a mindset, and those are the same people that are going to go start a GoFundMe.
And that's where, again, but that's what I said. That's what I'm talking about, though, is that mindset is welfare. Okay, welfare is a state of mind. A person gets put on welfare. The plan is you should be able. I mean, now don't get me wrong. There's some portions of it that they're putting it to where they're trying to help a person do better, but now welfare has now become a handicap, where it's handicapping people to stay stuck in the same place. So, like, when you have someone come up and ask you to borrow $20 to make it to payday, okay, you can, that's something you can understand. Maybe something came up unexpectedly. Okay, gas prices went up, so forth. But you look at a situation where you have people who have been on welfare their entire life, from the time they graduated from high school to the time they went to the grade. They have been on welfare their entire life. At what point in time should a person stop getting help if they don't want to help themselves? There should be a plan. Like I said, the mindset, the biggest part, and the thing is now they're talking about so much now, is the mental health is not there for people in poverty. The training, the teaching is not there. It's there, but it's not as easy to get to. Some places it's very easy to get to. Some, like in North Carolina, we have, like, you got people living out in the country that don't have access to training. You got people still living like it's in the 60s in North Carolina. So it's like there's so many different systems, so many broken parts of the system. But at what point should you help a person where you see the trend where they're just taking advantage of every single system in place that's there to help them?
Why would you help that person though? The system was designed to enable. So my thing is, my cousin who's getting welfare, I'm not getting ready to give her my money, and I know you already know who those people are.
That's right.
Now, where people will say they're helping that person is they'll get their EBT card or whatever and swap out money for their food stamps or whatever. That's your own personal choice if you choose to want to do that. At the end of the day, we're paying for those food stamps if you're working. So if I get in a situation where I'm not working or something, I'm grateful that that's there. So that doesn't mean that you're going to stay on it forever, but it's good to have that system in place. But we all know who the habitual lifelong welfare people are. I mean, it's not hard to see that. So if you're switching out money for their EBT card or whatever you choose to do, that's your business deal between you and that person. But it was like when I hosted the family reunion here, I told them the only thing that they could give me was money. I didn't want anybody's food stamp card. Because if 50-75% of the people are paying with money, I don't want your food stamp card. You go figure that out and figure out how to bring me money like everybody else who's paying. So, but I'm not going to be giving to people who I know are lifelong people who have been enabled by other family members.
Right.
Also, you can enable people that constantly smoke every day, drink every day. They can go out here. They can go out here and they can have jobs and stuff like that. But majority of their money goes to partying all the time. So they want to come to you because they short with trying to keep their phone on, or paying a light bill, or putting gas in their car. No, I'm not doing that either. If you choose to take your money and you want to buy loud and marijuana or whatever it's called and drinking and stuff like that, you got to figure that out. Like you said, we have to look at the individual. We have to look at our audience and see who coming to us for that help. And you can be my friend, and I'm going to tell you no because you're not making good choices, and I'm not going to enable you because the more that I give you because you short or I feel sorry for you, the more you're going to come to me. And I'm not. That's not the type of relationship I want with anybody.
You have to know the story.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, there was this guy who told in Chicago, they told him he was crazy to open up a mechanic shop in the inner city. Dun, dun, dun. But he did it anyway. And guess what he did? He started a GoFundMe. And what he did is, and the GoFundMe is in big letters, for those who need their car but cannot afford to get it fixed. Now, he did his research. All he has to do is say, hey, this is how much it costs. It costs $7,000 to fix Mario truck. He does this for the community. He does that. Any little bit can help. So what he does is the money that comes through the GoFundMe, he automatically eats up the labor. And all the people want to know is, who did you help? What did it cost? Because people want to see that it takes $7,000 to fix the engine, and you did it for $6,000, and you was able to do all this, and you ate up the labor. Yeah. So now it's a constant thing. He did it once to help somebody, and now people constantly do it, and that's what he does. He even hired somebody to go through and pick somebody. So now, because of what he did, other people who can afford to go to him, now his shop is thriving. And he said, I don't care what nobody say. Whether you say inner city, outer city, mid city, it don't matter. They all need help too. They got cars, and that's the main reason why. Because he said there are some people that they're single parents, male or female, they got one car, and they doing what they're supposed to do. They just falling a little bit short. He said that's why I come in. You can hate me, you can dislike me, but guess what? I'm gonna help people, and that's where the helping goes in. That's what you call helping. That's not enabling. Enabling is, you know good and well why this person was living or why this person was doing what they want to do. They needed money. Now you expect me, and then the ones that do it, they give a GoFundMe and don't say why it's a GoFundMe. They just want you to pay. Go ahead, give me the money. Well, you know you need an insurance. You know that's a part of life. You know you got to have money for a rainy day. That's a part of life. And the way, just like Mario alluded to earlier, the way to keep yourself from getting smacked upside the head, you need to know that story. And if they're not willing to give you the story, then you're not willing to give your money or your help or your contact. I'm not doing it. I need to know, because I need to know before I go to Mario and say, hey, this person, so his computer is broken, they don't have as much money, it's the only one in the house, boom. I'm not just going to send anybody there. You need to know the whole story.
Right. Well, you take the whole situation. Let's say, for example, and that's what I say is when helping people goes bad is when you don't take a good look at the situation. You look
That's
at
right.
You say you take a young lady
Exactly.
who's 23 years old and got 5 kids. Okay, what's wrong with that situation?
5 kids and 5 different baby daddies.
At 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
What's wrong with that situation?
He's still a child.
Some of that can be generational curses too now, because they monkey see, monkey do with a lot of families. And the thing is, you become a product of your environment, because you reflect what you don't see as a problem. So
who pays for that?
We do. The people that
work. Well, the ones that get it the worst are the children.
Mm-hmm.
In that situation, the children suffer the most because they're in an environment that they can't speak up. They can't say anything. I know with situations with me, I look back when the bad things happened with me as a child, I had no say so in that situation. So what? We paid for those bad situations.
Mm-hmm.
So
bad choices.
So again, it's like, here it is. You have people that helped us and did it. I remember back in the days when I used a homeless child, we were begging for money in the streets. Some people gave us money, some people didn't. Some people wanted to get us and take us to the police because we were too young out there to be asking for money. Mm-hmm. So again, that's one of those situations where I always kind of use the homeless situation, because I look at you look at a person, if you see a child begging for money, you know that situation is bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a real bad situation. But when you look and you see a grown adult who is fully functional begging for money, you start to wonder what's really going on. But when you see a child, that bothers you because what person in their right mind is going to put a child out here begging for money?
I say that's too, again, the enabling too with the system where defects and stuff like that was created to protect those children have started seeing their position as enabling, but really they've gotten away from it. They were never supposed to be enablers. They were supposed to be dictators to ensure that the system wasn't enabling. But what they've done is, from lack of training and accountability to the people who work in defects or whatever you call it in your state, there should be protection mechanisms in place to make sure that in the event you see a child panhandling on a corner or whatever, we should have somebody we can call. Right. And then there should be action that should be taken to hold those parents accountable. But that's what I'm saying, that what we claim is designed to help has really been designed to enable.
Yeah.
Right.
So
because the system's being overloaded.
You got all these social workers, people
Right.
who went to school supposedly to do this, do that, protect this, do that, do that. We got all these people that's supposed to be serving and protecting the community in all these different capacities. But some kind of way, they even weasel out of their responsibility.
Because they're overloaded. The system is overloaded. The system is overloaded.
And then all of a sudden, it falls back on the family.
Someone is at the front door.
Oh, I love that. Who at the front door? I can see him.
That's a good break. Is your doorbell helping or enabling?
Yeah. Is it helping you or enabling you, Mario? Look like Amazon to me. No.
Oh Lord.
It's one of them things where it's not hard to start a procedure or to do something. You just gotta take that first step. And the first thing they tell you, we overwhelmed, we short-staffed, we this, we that. But when you get people that's actually trying to make a difference, you're frowned upon. They look at you like you're crazy when you come in there asking for something. Or fill out this paperwork so we can get this done. You fill out the paperwork, you got it complete? Yeah, then you tell me to get it complete and bring it back to you? That's what you said, right? And then they pick and choose who they want to help. There's, I'm not going to bash them too much. I'm going to say this and I'm done. There are several examples of something being wrong in the household and them doing nothing. Then they'll revert back as we didn't see nothing wrong. Well, did you look?
It's just based on who it is. It's who it is they're trying to help. Like we're going back to, like, let's just say welfare, and let's just say the system. It was designed for a certain type of people to help them. But whenever we decided that we need to have some type of help with the same system, it seems like as if though we become the enablers. You understand what I'm saying? Because welfare wasn't for us. It was not designed for us, period, at all. But then whenever we started learning about the system, then we started going to get the help. But see, as long as they was on it, it wasn't supposed to be an enabler, it was supposed to be help for them. But once we learned about it too, now it became an enabler. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the system is never going to go away, because the system, long as there's a system in place, it's going to be always a certain group of people that's going to be enablers, because they're going to keep it there in order for that system to be available for those that don't want to go out here and do any better. And like you said, we have to pick and choose, and we have to know our audience. It's like, I'm not going to help someone that's on the system every month with anything as far as like giving them money for certain things, because like I said, those that are able to go out and get off the system and they choose not to do that, then that's where they're going to stay. And so, we come in as we're saying, you know what? No, I can't. Like you said, I'm not going to give nobody my money that goes out here every month and get money from the system and don't even do the right thing by the money they get from the system. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You're selling your food stamps. I mean, and a lot of times, and it's a few of them that sell them to pay a bill because food stamps can't pay bills, but it's a lot of them that sell them to go out here for other stuff.
Drugs, drinking. Yeah. Drinking, drugs.
Outfits to go to the clubs.
Yep, that too.
All kind of stuff. Cigarettes,
It's like Mario said. The reason why is a reason why, because they want people to be on it so they can sit up in there in their little air-conditioned offices and talk numbers. Well, this many people got on it. Well, this many people on, this many people on.
Statistics.
And they don't teach us coming from the same thing as Mario did. They don't. It's not there. There's no one to give classes and teachers like this is just a stepping stone to help you get out there and be a productive member of society or become better than the system. They don't tell us that. We go up through the system and we learn ourselves that we choose to rise above. But it will help out so much more if you just gave classes or training. People will come. Because it'd be something different. Oh, you want to teach how to do this, or how to pick up a trade, or how to do that, or how to do this. They don't teach you that. They want that control. Another reason why is, I'm going to say it, control.
Right.
If you're on the system, there is only so much you can do. Somebody said it earlier, you're gonna water your hours down just so you can maintain that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can only live in, what's it called, income,
Based on
income housing.
Yeah.
Based on income housing.
Right.
So you sit there and you live this meager existence, not even knowing not one time that you be in control.
Y'all, did you? Well, I'll ask y'all. I'll ask y'all later.
I have a question for everybody. Here's the question. What is something that each and every one of us can do or will do to help enable someone? It's just like if I'm on the outside looking in, and Mario, and I know Mario, he continue to do the same thing for this person, and I know he's enabling him. What is name one thing or name something that we all can do that we can cause enabling?
I don't understand the question.
I don't either.
So
Okay.
I'm confused.
The question is,
I think we all. You
okay,
mean to stop it if you see us doing it?
Maybe I need to use different words. Example. Give an example of something that we can do to a person or for a person to continue to enable them. I'm sorry. Maybe I need to rephrase that. Y'all still don't understand?
you want an example of
Okay. Yes. I'm saying, give an example of if you continue to do something for a person, Tisha, right? And you enable that person. Give me an example of something that you can continue to do to enable that person.
Oh, you want an example of enabling?
Yes.
So it's simple. If
Yes, Mario looking like, huh?
No, I'm trying to think of a situation.
Okay.
it's like if,
okay, I'll go first. Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, go ahead. No. I want to go first. I want to go first. Go.
If your friend, family member, whoever is coming to you for the rent, and it's been 6 months and you still paying their rent, you're enabling them. You're helping them to come to you and ask you for it. Because see, then after so long, they're not gonna pay it at all. Because see, now you got social media which be telling on folks, you asking me for your rent, but you've lost some $300 Jordans and a $500 outfit. But yet next month you're gonna be coming to see me. Can I borrow this? No.
My example is picking up somebody every day or every week to take them to the same place. They have a vehicle, but they only need a battery. They didn't have the battery, so they didn't have the money for a couple of months to buy the battery, but they choose not because they keep taking the money and spend it on something else. But I keep going to pick them up every week to take them where they need to go. That's where my enabling coming in for that person. You got the money to buy the battery, but it's easier for me to come and pick you up because every week you're choosing to take that money for that new battery and do something else. So I'm enabling them by saying, well, you know what? I'll just come pick you up every week. That's where my enabling coming in for that person.
I'm gonna go back to something that was said earlier. I think Mario said it. I think not having boundaries sets yourself up to enable people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't have boundaries for yourself, you can become an enabler to anything at any time. Because it's always somebody wanting or needing something, whether it's emotional support, physical support. Watch how people, when they're, everything's trucking along in their life, some people you don't hear from.
Yeah.
And then you giving them access to you every time they feel like being bothered, that's enabling them. Because that's making that person feel it's not even always big things.
Mm-mm.
It can be little things that we do that enable or put you in bad situations where you're enabling others. So you have to be the gatekeeper for what works best for you. Because again, I may be all right with loaning somebody money once a month. That might work for me. I may not see that as an enabling. Me and that person may have an arrangement. So to me, enabling has to do with, like you said, knowing your audience and then knowing yourself. If it's gonna make you feel some kind of way later on when you see that person with those $500 J's, then don't get in that situation, right?
Right.
Let me ask you a question, Tish. I'm sorry, Mario. Can I ask you a question real quick, Tish? I'm gonna go back on what you just said. You said it might be you have to know your audience, and I understand that. But I'm just trying, like you said that maybe I can let somebody borrow money once a month, every month. So if that person is still coming to you every month to borrow money, you don't think that's enabling?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Not if they're paying it back.
Not if I'm okay with it. Not
Yeah,
if that person is okay with no, that's not it, because it depends on what they're needing it for once a month.
Yeah.
They may not need it for the same thing. And if I'm okay with letting Joe Blow hold it every once a month, then I'm not enabling that person because I may be going to them once a month. We may be helping each other out. Who knows? It depends on the situation. That's why I said you got to be the gatekeeper for it's one of those things. It's according to your pocketbook or your wallet or your time and your resources and your energy. That's why you got to have those boundaries in place for what does enabling look like for me.
okay.
I want to add to
understand.
that because the
understand.
key word is the terms you use when you're dealing with people.
Right.
If I'm giving you a loan, that means you're going to pay me back. If I'm giving you the money, I don't expect it back. There's a big difference in that tone, and that's where it becomes an enabler. Like, let's say, for example, if you come to me and you ask for a loan, that means you're going to pay it back. But the people that don't pay it back, those are the ones are just trying to get over it, so that you're enabling their bad habit, because that's like almost like credit. You don't pay your payments, you got bad credit. Same thing with me. If you're asking me, Mario, let me borrow some money and I'll give it back to you on Friday. Okay, I give you the money. Friday comes and goes. You didn't call me. You didn't text me. You didn't give me any notification on what's going on. So then, in my mindset, you just got bad credit and you're not getting another dime from me. I'm no longer enabling the situation. No, but that's just, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Because like what some people do is, they'll do it and then they'll go right back and give this. No. You get one chance with me.
That's what I'm saying.
You get one chance with me. And that's why I said, so let me clarify that, because I understand what you're saying is that I will loan you money all day long as long as you pay it back. You keep your word and you pay it back. The moment you renege, the moment you don't pay it back, I'm like the bank now.
Yeah, because
your credit report right here says,
I've got two friends that I've known for years, and they are really close, and they're both single mothers, and they help each other all the time. Now, would I be willing to do it on that level? I don't think so. Nope. I can't do that like that. But it works for them.
Yeah.
And they don't see it as enabling each other because it works for them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because they already, Yeah, their dynamic is they already got a function and dynamic to where
Right.
yeah, I get that. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. Okay. I
So
got
that's
it.
why I said to me, it's like it's like I'm hardcore like that. If I see you, if I go back and I look at your, let's say it could be my family. My family knows me. You go out here and you're doing crazy, stupid stuff, but then you don't have the nerve to come ask me to borrow some money. No,
Mhm.
I'm just as hardcore as that credit report. You got bad credit. No. And I think that's the part where again is being you looking at the situation and like I said, you know the individuals, you know your audience, you know what they're about. If cousin Junebug goes out here and he borrows $20 from every single cousin just to pay his rent and he don't give you the money back, cousin Junebug gonna get cut off.
That's right.
But for those that keep giving him the money and then they get upset, they don't get the money, but they give right back to him again, they're enabling him to keep doing that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things is that when you see it as a bad pattern of someone mishandling money, mismanaging their responsibility. Like my biggest thing is if they don't have responsibility, if you got 2 children and you're not taking care of your children, how the hell you gonna come ask me for help?
Right. Or if you taking care of a man or a woman,
That right there.
and you want to come borrow
there,
some money from me.
Mario, you
If you got this big dusty grown person in the house with you, I can't do no business with you.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. I mean, here it is. You got this individual in there playing PlayStation 5. Everybody else out here working their butts off. Ain't nothing wrong with this individual, but they down playing PlayStation 5. But then you, that significant other, well, it's just what? You got 2 adults in your household. One of y'all working, and you have the nerve to ask for money?
I know somebody going through that right now, and I do, and I'm like, "Woo, child."
You have to.
I'm
You
telling
have
y'all,
to
this
get-
stuff is real. We can't make it up.
And he won't get up and go get no job. And her rent is $2,600 a month, and she paying by herself.
She's a whole fool for even letting him get in her house.
Right. See, those are the things that
I mean,
how is it that you have a grown? I'm gonna say it. You have a grown man. You in there taking care of a grown man. You out there working 8 to 10 hours a day. You come home, you see this grown man playing PlayStation 5 with kids, and then have the nerve to come ask, "Can I borrow $20?"
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
don't do it,
exactly.
player.
You might get slapped.
I might say no in French.
But again, that's going back to understanding the situation, understanding the situation. Because like in some cases, you have, like I said, you go back, you got a single mother out here doing it all, taking care of 3 kids, working 2 jobs, doing everything in her power to keep her head above the water. So that's why knowing the situation makes a difference.
Exactly.
Yep.
And like I said, and knowing that person ain't trying to hustle you to make themselves look good, better in front of other people too. Because I've had family members that do that. You over here take care of man, ask me for money, and then you constantly asking me, but you over here bragging about old boy over here in the house with you. No, you not going to get me used because you don't have good sense not to let yourself get used. That's crazy.
That's
you
true.
have to let them know. You have to know the story and let them know that you know the story.
Yep.
And my thing is like when you're contributing to someone's bad habits, bad decisions, and unbalanced situations, that's where you're enabling them to keep doing it because they say, "Hey, I made it this month, so it works. I'm gonna do it again next month," and then they'll keep doing that same thing until they can't get it anymore. And I think that's the thing that people have to look at. You have to assess the situation to where if a person keeps making bad, okay, wait a minute, I'm looking down on your feet. You got those $200-something Jordans, but you're saying you're hurting bad. How are you hurting bad? And you got $200 shoes on.
Exactly.
How are you hurting bad? And the suit you got on costs more than my car. I mean, how are you hurting bad?
That's right.
So those are situations to where you look at a person thinking like you got a person, and again, you got people that sit on their butt all day long. And I mean, and don't get me wrong, people on disability. You got some that deserve to be on disability and some that don't. and they're using the system to get over. But then yet they're gonna come and ask you, well, wait a minute, hold up, time out. You get $2,000 a month for your disability. You sit at home all day, play PlayStation 5, and yet you're gonna come ask me to borrow $20. I'm out here working my butt off.
Yeah,
So that's why I say
yeah.
you have to understand the situation. And say to me, it is like, okay, you can have disability, but if you can push buttons on a PlayStation 5, why can't you push buttons on that computer and work from home? Why can't you do something that's productive where you can make your money? Now, nowadays, anyone can work. Period. Now, unless you have a mental disability, because even if you have a physical disability, so majority of the physical disability, you still can do work. Well, they tell me I can't work because if I work, it's going to take away from my disability. Okay, really? So why are you asking me for money?
Exactly.
That means you're living outside your means. If you get
There
$2,000,
you
why are
go.
you living in a $3,000 house?
There you go.
So that's one of those things I tell people all the time. I don't feel sorry for anyone who
Nope.
makes bad decisions,
We
who
know.
do bad, have no balance in their life.
Nope.
Yeah,
So don't. Not
There's a difference when you're out here, you're working hard for it.
yeah.
But that's the thing is, I'm not going to just give my money to somebody that's not putting 100% of effort in to do better for themselves.
Yeah.
Now, if I see a person out here working hard, doing what's necessary, I don't mind then helping someone else.
Yes.
But you got to show me you doing work.
You got to show it.
And I see you out there on the side of the street and you wearing brand new Jordans, wearing the newest short outfits, asking, "Can I get $1?" Oh no, player. You a grown man. You can't work at Mickey D's. You can't go get application. And I think that some people now I get it. Like there's certain circumstances that you can't do this. You can't. What do they say? The unemployment is down 3 point whatever, but you can't get a job. You can stand out here all day long, walk up and down the street in the hot sun, but you can't go flip a burger. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I know there's some mental disabilities out there that I get it, but some of these individuals, if you don't know the situation, you're just enabling them to stay stuck where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Whew.
It's been a good topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like nowadays it's getting harder to help people who really need help, and that's why I say you have to really assess the situation. I know I help out a lot of people when I can, but you have to understand the situation. I know my family. I would say no heartbeat to my family because if I see that they're not doing the right thing, then especially when it's already known that you're not doing the right thing, then no, you need to put forth the effort to do the right thing.
Yeah. All right.
All right,
guys.
So what's your final? Let's wrap it up with the final opinion on today's topic. Marcella, we always gonna start with you.
Know your audience. Say no. And hold people accountable for their own responsibilities.
Eric?
You have to know the situation. Once you know that situation, and know the situation, and don't be afraid to say no.
Fish.
Know the whys. Own your no. Don't give what you can't afford to not get back.
That's right. Amen.
And then that way you don't have to fall out with nobody. And just have clear boundaries. You know yourself better than anybody else. Don't do for anybody anything that's gonna cause you to have malice in your heart for them.
That's true. Yeah. Mario.
My thing is look for the balance. Look for the balance in their lives. Look at what they do. Look at their actions. Look at what they are all about. Once you see the balance in their life, you can understand if it's worth helping them or if you're helping them or enabling them. If you see their balance is tilted the wrong way, then the first thing is that you're going to be enabling them. But if you see the balance is they're doing everything right and something bad just happened out of clear blue, you know, and it's something that's outside your control, then that's a different story. But that balance, see where a person's balance is at. Because I go back to that one that irritates me the most. You got a grown ass man sitting in the house playing PlayStation 5, and you out here killing yourself doing a job, but then you need to borrow some money. And I say, no, you got that grown ass man, let him do it. But that's that balance piece that you got to have.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
All right. So this was look, I'm mad now.
Another banger.
Just thinking
You
about
got fired up.
it.
Another banger.
But again, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for joining us for the show. This one was kind of heated one. It kind of I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Oh yeah, let me, but
You gotta go drink.
Yeah.
Brown bag.
I'm gonna try to find me something to eat. I'm hungry.
Yeah, I heard that. But no, but like I said, overall, this thing is like, this is pretty much the name of the show is when helping someone is a bad thing. And then my thing is this: we always want to help people, but we want to make sure that the help we give them is going to put them in a better place than where they're at. If you're helping somebody and they're still stuck in the same place, you might want to look at their whole situation, because that means they're doing something wrong.
Yep.
All right, y'all be safe. We'll see y'all next week. Until then, like I said, we'll see y'all later.
Good night, everyone.